A man reproduces himself through his child, so when he leave here, he can just smile. But I see fit to stay here a while, maybe buy a timeshare somewhere, rock bumwear, beach chair, write a book each year. You can write yourself out of your blessings. Wreck your Lambo the first stages by driving too reckless. Time is too precious, these some obvious lessons. Please remind me to watch my step while I balance on edges. Ski on the slopes of life, slide down the Ave at night. Watching them graphing graffiti on walls, that's the sight. Cars from Germany, I be pushing the fastest type. Looking at real estate, brother, I need to ask a price. Imagine another rapper making me perspire. I got more styles and more flows, plus I'm much flyer. I got more heights to reach, but I'm already higher. I'm already on to the next thing. Peace and bless, King.
What is going on? What is going on, people? Listen, welcome home. I appreciate you all for checking in each and every Monday. I just like it. I like giving you this information. I like doing it. And I'm excited about where we are headed. And we'll get into that a little bit later. I had an awesome weekend. Did a lot of thinking, fasting, and we'll get into it. But first, let's do our housekeeping quickly. Remember to like, subscribe, share, depending on whatever platform you are viewing this on. What It Takes drops each and every Monday. And I'm going to get a little bit busier than that. On Wednesdays, of course, I always remind you of my brother, Tenacity Foundation, Joel Simmons. Go check him out. It Starts With Me. That drops at 12:30. You can check that out on his YouTube channel, the Tenacity Foundation. Fridays, Community Beacon, 6:30. I'm saying all these things like I'm not busy, but 6:30, Friday, Community Beacon. That's where Joel and I get together and have conversations about what's going on within our lives, our business, our partnerships, and relationships. I mean, I learned so much on those shows, on the Community Beacon show, just from having that brother listen to me. And then we had this show, it was about an hour last week, and then we stopped, and I think we went another hour and a half after the show. So tune in, a lot of great things that come from that, especially with our talk that we had after the show as we continue to move forward. It shows extreme vulnerability, a lot of information in which we're using as we get through this path that we call life. And then, of course, you guys got to check out the Male Perspective. That's done at the Podcast Plus studio. I mean, they dropped a video recently, and their production, shouts out to Beethoven Francois, is unreal. He does an awesome job. Beethoven, if you're in the Palm Beach County area and you're not working with Beethoven in regards to your brand, then I don't know what to tell you. The man is definitely a genius. So that's what's going on outside of What It Takes. Let's get quickly into some real estate news that I thought was interesting. And this actually dropped on the Wall Street Journal, but the Florida Realtors just gave it to us. This dropped, it says the socials May 31st, 23. So this is for sellers who are behind on their mortgage. I think this is very important. So let's take a look at it. It says the FHA foreclosure plan moves money to back end. It doesn't make sense to refinance at-risk FHA loans. This is the truth, due to higher interest rates. So the latest plan simply offers a reduction and extends the mortgage payoff date. This plan is pretty much the answer to what a lot of people have going on right now who went through the pandemic. They had a situation, they weren't able to get caught up on their bills. They had to move things, you had to eat. We got inflation going on. So what was the question? Oh, you need to repay you need to catch up with the payments. Well, how are you going to catch up if you're not making more money or you're making the same money? Like it doesn't make sense. And you perhaps were laid off for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So this makes sense. And I'm going to really follow up with this because there's a lot of people who are doing things, attempting to solve a problem without necessarily having all their options. And as real estate professionals, we have to make sure that you have your options, especially when you're dealing with the most financially expensive thing that you'll ever buy, right? The buying and selling of homes is nothing to take lightly. Sometimes because we do so much volume, we do so many transactions that it seems like, oh, you just signed paper. No, this is every time, and I've signed several. I've signed quite a few. Every time you sign those documents, it feels like you're taking on something. Like it feels heavy. A lease, okay, a year, right? When you're doing anything that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and really 15 and 30 years, I definitely understand the emotional energy it takes for that. So let's go on and read it. Under the plan, the FHA essentially pays part of the homeowner's monthly mortgage bill using its insurance fund. It then structures that repayment as a second loan that's due after the first mortgage loan is paid off. Okay. FHA wants to offer it to people who otherwise would not benefit from a traditional modification, since in most cases that would involve trading in their lower rate for a higher one. So if you're going from, you couldn't afford it at 3-4%, and then you're going to 6.5%, 7.5%, let's say between 6.5% and 7.5%, or 6 to 7, that makes a huge difference. And so what happens is people get caught up into, they're going to go into foreclosure. They get this modification, and then 3, 6, 9 months down the line, they're back in the same trouble of the foreclosure. This has ramifications overall. I mean, we're talking about if this happens, less people are going to put their homes on the market. So home prices are going to pretty much stay stable if this happens. Let's see what else they say. We see a lot of people having to get modifications that either don't reduce their payments or in some cases raise their payments, right? That's not going to have the success rate over the time that we'd like to see. So this is what they're doing to prevent what happened in 2008, when we had that massive meltdown. For a period of up to 5 years per plan, the monthly principal and interest rate may drop, as much as 25%. And the total FHA I'm going to send this out to everybody. I have to send this in an email. This is important. Could be as much as 30% of the loan balance. FHA officials say the government would get repaid at the end of the loan term, and that helping borrowers get back on track under the system will cost less than following through with a foreclosure. This proposal is currently open for public feedback. It will go into effect perhaps under a modified version sometime after the comment period ends. So I'm going to follow up with this. I'm going to keep you all abreast of what's going on with that situation. That's going to be interesting. That's good, because that's the difference between the stabilization of the housing market. A lot of people think, okay, I'm going to sell my house now, possibly rent, which rents are crazy. It's in South Florida. Of course, I'm talking about my local market. Rents are crazy. And then they're saying, I'll wait a year, maybe 2 years, and hopefully we'll get with the housing market will crash. I can go in, I can grab something for cheaper, or something better for cheaper. However, and we are expecting another interest rate hike. So I don't foresee interest rates going back down below 4% for a while. So when you put that together, and you also put together the fact that there's not a lot of homes that's going to come on the market, that gamble that some people took by selling their property thinking that they were going to sell high and then buy low may not pan out as quickly as they thought it was going to happen. And now all of a sudden you're spending a lot of money in rent, and the return rate on rent, what's the interest rate on rent? As a person that always asked before, that is 100%. What is the return? So if you're renting and you're paying higher rents now, let's say your mortgage was $1,500. Of course, you were gaining equity. It was your property, etc. Now you're paying $2,000 for rent, $2,000. That rent steadily goes up every year, or every 2 years minimum. Most landlords are doing this, 5 to 10%. So now if it's a $2,000 rent, which is probably a little bit higher than that if you got a 2-bedroom, $2,000 rent. Now you're talking about 2 times 10. That's $20,000. That's $24,000 a year. So if this lasts for a year, you got $24,000. Well, you're already going to pay $24,000, right? So next year, when you thought that it was going to crash, it doesn't. It's $48,000. And they say it doesn't crash the second year. Now we're really eating into your equity and money saved up. And I'm going to tell you what, if you have monies in the bank, every emergency gets paid off. Every vacation, every whim, we're emotional. 95% of the population, probably more than that. We're all emotional, but some people are more logic. We're emotional spenders. So that extra trip, that outfit, that handbag, that car, that whatever it is, now all of a sudden you're putting it towards there. So you just got to be quite aware. And this actually leads into what I want to talk about before I get off with you briefly. And of course, it didn't. Yeah, it did. Okay, perfect. These are my thoughts. I want to talk about getting clear. This weekend, I spent a lot of time getting clear. No TV. I did watch it a little bit, but mostly no TV. And just getting clear with what my goals are. What my goals are for my next 6 months. What that's going to turn into in the next year and a half. So on and so forth. Because we're getting closer to the end of the year. We start to just move quickly. Holidays are coming, etc. What are your goals? What I find that if we don't get our goals and we don't get crystal clear on not even what our goals are, who we are and where we intend to be, we start to do things that aren't beneficial because they're done emotionally and they're done on a whim. I got very crystal clear on my goals. I know exactly where I need to go. And so for the next 6 months is going to be aligning my behavior with those goals. And guess what? Sometimes the goals do change. We never know what may happen. Heck, there might be a bunch of people who decide to put their home on the market for whatever reason. Like there's a lot of things that I can't plan for, right? I always tell people, well, that's above my pay grade when they start talking about different things. And I will be able to make the adjustment, but the adjustment will be made with a clear goal or clear thought process in mind. I think it's important that you take the time, get clear on your goals. What does that mean? Figure out what your values are. And that's really what you need to strive for. Strive to figure out what your core values are. Once again, the goals may or may not change, but your core values aren't. And this will allow you to make your decisions much more quicker and speed. I have a coach who says that you move at the speed of implementation. So the speed of you being able to implement whatever it is that you want to do, because your decisions are made quicker, because you're clear on your values. And so if you have to make the adjustment to the goals as you go along, you can absolutely do that. And there will be less resistance. Guys, this is quick time. I appreciate it. I'm going to get to work. This was done early in the morning. I appreciate you all checking out, and I will see you later, guys. Welcome home. Welcome home.
A man reproduces himself through his child, so when he leave here, he can just smile. But I see fit to stay here a while, maybe buy a timeshare somewhere, rock bumwear, beach chair, write a book each year. You can write yourself out of your blessings, wreck your Lambo the first stages by driving too reckless. Time is too precious, these some obvious lessons. Please remind me to watch my step while I balance on edges, ski on the slopes of life, slide down the Ave at night, watching them graphing graffiti on walls, that's the sight. Cars from Germany, I be pushing the fastest type. Looking at real estate, brother, I need to ask in price. Imagine another rapper making me perspire. I got more styles and more flows, plus I'm much flyer. I got more heights to reach, but I'm already higher. I'm already on to the next thing. Peace and bless, King.